Well, it is so good to have you back on the podcast. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, it's so nice to be back. I know it's been a little while.
I know we've missed you, but I know that you are going through such a fun, busy season of life and business right now. I don't remember when you were last on the podcast. Was it a couple of months ago?
For sure. I think
No
everyone's
worries.
like,
We will wake everyone up. We will wake them
yeah.
up. Yeah, before the holidays, I think you're right. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
So talk to us about like before we dive in. I know this is a hot seat episode. You're going to be putting me in the hot seat and asking me the hard questions. But before we dive in, do you want to just introduce yourself to anyone who hasn't listened to those episodes before and just give us a little business update? Because I know you have some really exciting things in the works.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Arielle Zella. I'm the founder and designer of Lutere Jewelry. Lutere means to play. I create joyful and uncommon fine and demi-fine jewelry that's made for a life of play. I'm here in Denver, Colorado, and just celebrated 2 years in business, actually just last week. It feels in a lot of ways so much longer than that, but yeah, somehow only 2 years. And big updates are on the horizon. I'm actually opening up a brick and mortar here in Denver. I have the space and I'm just doing a build out on it that should open up sometime this summer.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for you. And yeah, I can't believe it's been 2 years already. It's
Yeah,
funny how, on one level, like 2 years can feel like it's been like a lifetime.
yeah.
Because you've been
It
just
feels
so
like
immersed in the business for so long now.
Yeah, it does feel like the amount that's happened in 2 years feels like it has to have been longer than 2 years. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I blinked and it was 2 years. That's like both things at the same time.
Yeah, and you've hit some amazing milestones, and opening a brick and mortar is no small feat. I mean, you already had your small studio. Was it a studio office
Yeah, I guess I
before?
have like some experience over the past 2 years that have shown me like, oh, this is the direction I definitely want to go in.
Mhm.
I do like a full-time winter pop-up every year that's 7 days a week, 6 weeks from November into Christmas. So that is like, oh, I have like a really good time at those events and they do really well. And then in July of last year, I opened up a showroom that is open like by appointment only. So it's a little space that's set up like a store and I do a lot of my custom work out of there, but it's still not really set up to get like foot traffic and have like the general public come in all the time and is open all the time. It's definitely like in a by appointment only situation. So this is going to be a full brick and mortar on like a main foot traffic big street here in Denver. It's Tennyson Street to anyone here in the area. And yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely nervous about it, but also really excited.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see the store opening. And anyone who's listening you're in Denver,
Yeah.
Denver, Colorado, go and check it out when it opens because I did get the sneak peek when you shared on one of your reels the property that you have. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. It's so spacious. And I just know you're gonna like make it so magical. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your customers who are gonna
Oh,
actually
thank
get
you.
to shop in person as
Yeah.
well.
It's
And
gonna
we'll have to bring you back on to like hear the whole updates because opening a brick and mortar is a whole other ball game. And
yeah.
I'm sure you're already like learning so many lessons through that and have so many stories. But I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, such a pleasure. So, do you want to kick us off? I'll hand it over to you. Kick us off with your first question.
Yeah. So I guess my first question is something that I still find so much trouble with. And so my question for you is how do you deal with imposter syndrome in both your business and personal life?
Mm. Yeah, this is such a good question. And I know you weren't on our group call this morning, but it's funny because I had a client literally dealing with imposter syndrome. And I mean, this comes up with our clients all the time.
Yeah.
And I've dealt with this a lot over the years. And it used to be imposter syndrome at one point on my journey many, many years ago, used to be what would make me stop doing something because I'd be like, oh, I feel like I'm not a legit designer, or am I worthy to be in the store? And I'd get these feelings that were so uncomfortable that made me think like, oh, this isn't aligned, or no, this isn't for me. And I'd listen to them and I wouldn't take action. And over the years, what I've learned is that imposter syndrome is actually a really good sign. It's a really good feeling. And I've learned to kind of shift that, because it's not a sign that something's wrong. It's not a sign that something's not aligned. It's usually just a sign that I'm stepping out my comfort zone. It's a sign that I'm expanding. It's a sign that I'm growing. It's a sign that I'm trying new things. If I wanted to never experience imposter syndrome, I could just stay home and watch Netflix all day, and I would not experience imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I would be cozy, comfy, safe, happy. But well, I don't know how happy I would be. I wouldn't be growing.
Right.
I like growing. I like the challenges. I like expanding. And so just reframing that imposter syndrome as, okay, nothing's wrong. It just is a sign that I'm growing. I'm putting myself out there. I'm trying new things. And at this point, like, I still get imposter syndrome, not as much as I used to, but in different things. The first time I did the retreat, huge imposter syndrome, so much anxiety around that. And I was like, oh, no, it's just because this is new. I haven't coached in person with a whole group of people for a whole weekend. I've done millions of hours of coaching, but not in this kind of environment. So it was uncomfortable because it was new and I was growing. And so now I just kind of recognize it. I'm like, oh, yeah, imposter syndrome. I can name it, I can feel it. And I'm like, oh, it's there. And I'm still going to take action. I'm still going to do it. I've learned that you need to do things before you feel ready, because often the most meaningful things and impactful things that I've done in business and in my personal life, um, like running the retreat, like starting the podcast even many, many years ago, everything that I've done that's been super aligned has been super uncomfortable, super scary, but also one of the most transformative things that I could be doing. And so I just listen to the voice. I'm like, okay, this is scary. Okay, this is uncomfortable. Okay, there's a voice in my head saying, who are you to do this? You're not worthy of doing this. I'm like, okay, that's the version of me just trying to keep me safe. I hear you. And I'm going to go take these steps. I am going to be okay. I'll take the steps, even if it's like small, tolerable steps. And tomorrow the sun's going to rise. It's all going to be fine. Even if I do something and I fail, even if I do a podcast and like it flops, like the sun's still going to rise. So that's really helped me over the years. And I think just reframing that imposter syndrome doesn't mean you're an imposter. It just means you're doing something new, and kind of leaning into that feeling and kind of just like kind of doing things purposefully to get out of your comfort zone. So for anyone listening, like, that doesn't only have to be in business. It can be, like you said, in your personal life. It can be going to a yoga class that you've been anxious to go to. Because I don't know, I personally find yoga classes very intimidating if you've never been to a studio before and you have to walk in and you don't know anyone. Like, that could be like leaning into that imposter syndrome and just practicing, putting in the reps, making it a mission that every time you go to a coffee shop, you speak to one person. That helps you as well. Like, one of the things I do when I go to coffee shops is I slowly learn everybody's name that works there. And I'm really, really bad at names. I'm really bad at just talking to people in those environments. And it's just one of the things I do because, number one, it makes it more meaningful for me. They're now my friends. I know them. They know my order before I get to the front. And I really enjoy going in, builds my confidence. And it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, just because it's uncomfortable, just because I'm like, well, what if they don't want to talk to me? It's like, no, we just do it. We often tell ourselves these big stories and turn it into something else. So I think in your personal life and in business, like, the more you can just be like, oh, I hear you, cool, and I'm just going to go do this anyway, and we're going to be okay. It makes a world of difference. So, like, what's your experience been of that, Arielle? Because I know you mentioned you've experienced that
Yeah.
as well.
No, I think everything you said is so dead on. And it is just like a natural part of anyone's, I think, business building journey to kind of go through that
Mm,
evolution.
mm,
You kind of can't get through it without having that feeling, especially if you're taking risks and doing something you've never done before and like trying to advance both personally and professionally. It just is, you kind of just have to accept it. Like it just is part of it.
Mm,
It's part of doing something new, but it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Like I think before earlier in my life, and I've just had a lot of different kind of business iterations before this one and different career paths. And I always, like you said in the very beginning, let the imposter syndrome be the sign that something was wrong. I wasn't good at this. And that meant I needed to pivot. And now I totally just accept it as part of the process. And it's, it's not always smooth and it still feels like so uncomfortable. Like sometimes it's extremely uncomfortable, but I don't take that as like a sign that things are wrong. I do take it, just like you said, as a sign that things are right. And it is just about like kind of navigating it and going through it and recognizing that the only way to get to the other side is to kind of go through that process. And if you shy away from it, you're going to build more evidence that you're not good enough, like, or that you can't do that. And it's only from like attacking it anyway and getting to the other side that you can make that imposter syndrome fade into the background. And like, if you just keep listening to it and letting it tell you that you're not good enough or XYZ reasons, you will always be stuck on that side. And it's just like that little act of bravery of just like doing it anyway, even though it's
yeah.
so hard. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. But I don't know. It's definitely a journey.
Oh, yeah. It's a journey for sure. And, you're so right. It's really just about having the courage to feel scared, feel uncomfortable, feel like an imposter, and just take action every day anyway. Like those little steps add up over time. Like you said, like over the last 2 years, how many scary things have you done? Like if you told yourself 2 years ago you're going to do all these things, you would have been like, hell no. But if we just break it down and we like just do one step after the other and we just slowly do it, like it's amazing what we can achieve over 2 or 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Just feeling the fear, having the courage to do it anyway, and not allowing imposter syndrome to hold us back.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like this next question kind of goes in with that last one, which is, I don't know if you have like a life lesson that has shaped your approach to business. It sounds like kind of facing the fear and doing it anyway has been a big one for you, but I don't know if you can think of maybe some other kind of guiding principles that have kind of pushed you through.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think in terms of like getting through in business, I would say, like you said, I mean, I don't mean to repeat it, but it is exactly what's helped me is just taking action. I used to be a list writer many years ago. My first year of business was a hot mess. I was a
Mm.
list writer, I was a planner, I was a researcher, I was a thinker, I was putting in insane amounts of hours doing all that stuff that felt productive. It felt like I was organized. It was very safe work, and it wasn't the work that really moved the needle. And so what happened was I actually did huge damage to my confidence because I was putting in a lot of hours but I wasn't seeing results. And when that happens, we think like, oh my gosh, I'm just not good at this. Oh my gosh, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Or I'm not worthy of being a business owner, or all these things. But actually I wasn't doing the task that needed to be done, and I was doing the thinking work and not the doing work. I was doing a lot of thinking work because it's safe and it feels fun and it feels easy. And so by just focusing on always taking action, like right now, like, well, for the past few years, I'm very quick to implement anything. I'm very like, if I'm like, oh, you know what, we should do a masterclass, we should do that. And it's like, I'm going and I'm not even planning it out. I'm building it as I plan it. Like the slides are being built. Like it's instant implementation as quick as we possibly can. And it's not like researching and planning everything to death. It's like, okay, let's get our minimum viable, whatever it is, out to market. Let's test it. Let's get real data. Let's get feedback. Let's start practicing, putting in those reps. And as you said, like that's how you build confidence, because then you're actually getting evidence and you just start stacking it day in and day out. And so, yeah, I think it's really about not waiting to feel ready, because you'll never feel ready in business or in life. I've come to realize that, unfortunately. Like it would be
Yes.
so great if it's like, I wake up one morning, I'm like, okay, I'm now ready to do this next step in business. Like I'm ready, the stars are aligned, I feel energized, I feel good. I mean, if I waited till I was feeling all stars aligned for anything in business, I wouldn't do anything ever.
Yeah.
um, And so it's just realizing like we're never going to feel perfectly ready. Now is the perfect time to do whatever that one thing is. Anyone listening is like on your list, like now's the perfect time. Like with you, like you could have said to yourself, oh, I've only been in my jewelry business for 2 years. I'm not ready to open a brick and mortar store because of XYZ. We can easily talk ourselves out of everything and justify with facts. And instead, you're like, oh, okay, I've been in business 2 years. Here's the evidence that I've stacked that we're on the right track. Here's the evidence I've stacked that I can do this. And now I'm doing it, even though it's like some people listening to this will be in a similar situation to you, will have similar dreams, and they won't take action for like another 20 years because they're waiting for that time to be ready. And it's
Yeah.
one of the things I've learned that we're never ready.
Yeah.
What would
That's
you?
true. I think like I'm like a really high action person as well.
Mm,
And it doesn't feel as insane to me in the moment when I'm doing the action.
yeah.
It is like after the fact where I'm just like, what have I done? And it's not even that, I mean, I feel that way a little bit, but it's more so when I compare myself to other people or when I let like what is normal or what other people, because a lot of people are really scared. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people are very timid and will not take action and they'll spend their whole lives doing nothing. And so when they hear you're doing like a big thing, like they
Mm,
get scared, like they get a little jumpy, and then you start to think like, oh, maybe I am a little crazy. Like, what have I done? But
mm.
I don't know. The people I see achieving things are the action people. You know what I
Oh
mean? So
yeah.
it's like, am I really the crazy one? Or am I just gonna like figure it out and take this big risk and just like keep moving forward? And so it is like this like push pull of those two things because like it's hard on your nervous system to be a constant action person in some ways, like because you're constantly putting yourself out there and you definitely never feel safe or ready. But I've like I guess trained my nervous system to be okay with it to a little like to some extent. And like I used to definitely have to have things like more perfect to move forward, and I'm way better at kind of just like letting things go and letting things be. And I think I don't know. I'm just like you. Like I get this idea and I'm like, oh, I want to do that now immediately. Like, and it has to be done
Mhm.
right now. And then sometimes I get into the situation where I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But at that point, it's like, well, I'll have to figure it out. And so I guess it's like a good quality in that way because then I do figure it out. Like inevitably, I will figure it out. And so I just like lean into the action in the moment and then kind of
Mm.
figure out how to do it later.
Oh yeah, you know what? What I would say you have and I have as well, and it's a trait that I see a lot of really successful entrepreneurs have, is a healthy obsession with what they're doing, where it's like, oh, we have to work on slightly reining back sometimes to like manage our energy and stuff. And that's so much easier to slowly like to train ourselves to rein back on like implementing rather than to have to build a fire within us to implement. So
Yeah.
what you have is like I would say a healthy obsession with like doing, and that's what we want. And it's like it takes time, it's messy, it's scrappy, but we slowly work out what our energy can handle at different seasons of life and what we have capacity for. And then we're like, oh, you know what, maybe this will just have to extend the timeline, this will just have to outsource, this will have to maybe just like do it now and double down and just get it done. And you kind of navigate that in a way that works for you, and it takes practice. But the other thing I'll say is that over when it comes to nervous system regulation, it's really a tough thing because we can't just walk into business and have this regulated nervous system. Very few people have it. I know some people where they just so chill, but these are people who have built really successful businesses and they've built a really high tolerance to stress. So like they can lose like $20,000 overnight, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that happened. Okay, what do you want for lunch?" And they like move on with their day. And it's only because they've had experience of going through and being like, "It's not the end of the world. We're in business. Like this happens," and they move on. And so I think just also recognizing like through these ups and downs, through like doing things before we're ready, through actioning things so quickly, we're also building our tolerance for stress slowly. And everyone has a different tolerance, but we want to get to a point where, oh, a supplier didn't ship you the stuff. cool, it's not the end of the world. Like, we're not having a breakdown. We're like, oh yeah, that happened. Cool, I'm in business to solve problems, and I'm anticipating there's a ton more problems coming. So I know with your store opening, you're probably like, oh yeah, the list of problems is endless, but you know you can handle it, and you know, like, you're in business to problem solve.
Yeah, it is true. And that's one of the things I like about it.
Yeah, it makes it fun. It's like a board game.
Yeah. So I guess when I first started this business, I guess I had all of these ideas of what I thought it would be like. That's just like the nature of humanity. I think we try to like look into the future and we think we know what it's going to be like. And then it's been nothing like what I thought it would be like over and over and over again. My
Mm.
assumptions were proven wrong. So I'm wondering about like your transition from being a jewelry business owner to being a jewelry business coach and starting the JBA. What is something that you like didn't anticipate when you were thinking about it in the thinking phase, I guess, that now you're realizing is part of the business that you really enjoy? And what is something that you maybe dislike now that we're in this phase?
Yeah, okay. This is such a good question because yeah, I didn't fully like sit down and like think, oh, this is exactly it's going to look like. Like, it kind of evolved. We've had different versions of it, and the version we have now I'm like the most proud of. I think it's the most effective as well. Um and I'd say, you know, I really didn't anticipate when it comes to our clients, I didn't anticipate how much I would also be learning from them, and kind
Hmm.
of just through coaching and supporting them, like, I'd also be learning and growing through that process, and seeing, just, I know a lot of what goes on behind the scenes of a lot of our clients' lives. Like, pretty much every client, if they wanted to, would have a list of excuses for why now is not the time to build a business, for why maybe like financially this isn't a feasible decision, for why time wise they don't have enough time, or they have kids, or they're in a rough season of life, or they're getting a divorce, or they're dealing with someone who just died. Like, every single client has a story, and they all have a list of reasons they could use as excuses for why they shouldn't be building a business. And every single one of them just like continues to show up and continues to like do the hard work and to be vulnerable, and to ask for support. And I don't know, I just find it really inspiring, seeing the resilience and seeing the commitment to like really protecting their dream and bringing it to life no matter what, even when it's messy, because like life is messy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just didn't like anticipate that. I didn't actually anticipate that. This sounds crazy, that so many people would be going through so much at any given time either, and then still showing up for their business and still being so committed to their dreams.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then when it comes to, what was the other part of your question?
Something you didn't anticipate that you maybe dislike about running a business coaching or the JBA in general.
Yeah. When it comes to something that I didn't anticipate, I mean, there's two things I didn't really anticipate. So the first would be the insane workload, which, I mean, it's been really, really intense. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's a digital product. Like, people think that it's an easier business, and it's just a different business. It has been an insane workload. And now I have like a few people on our team. And I mean, they're working full time doing all this stuff. And we're still like at capacity of like the amount of work and tasks that are happening every single day. So I really didn't anticipate behind the scenes how much work actually goes into it on the admin side and on the
Yeah.
building side. Like, it still blows my mind. I had a team meeting with my team yesterday, and we're increasing. One of our team just left the corporate world to come full time with us, and we're even increasing her hours again. And she's been like full time with us 1 month, and we're already like, hey, we need more hours. And it's one of those things where we were literally saying, she was like, I had no idea there was all of this going on behind the scenes. Yeah, it still blows me away. And then I think something else that I didn't anticipate, but it's actually, it kind of connects to the thing that I said before about how I find our clients so inspiring, and that I've learned through coaching them as well. But I didn't anticipate the weight of having everyone's business problems and life problems, and kind of being an anchor for everyone. I didn't anticipate the weight that would put on my shoulders. and I've learned to navigate it better. But like some days, like I remember some days the weight of coaching clients through tough seasons, like I'd finish coaching and I'd just be in tears for them, for like the season of life they're going through. And I would like, you're dealing with people who are going through often the hardest seasons of life. That's why they're getting support. Not always. Some people come and they're thriving. They're like, we're ready to ramp up. But often like things happen, like they're going through burnout, they're dealing with grief, they're dealing with divorces, launches that flopped, little disappointments, all these things. So I'm taking all of that on. And then I also have my own life and I'm dealing with like dating and breakups and like family stuff. And there's all these things. And then my own business and my own team. And I think the emotional toll of that really adds up, and like the headspace. It just adds up. And when people ask me why I don't still run a jewelry business as well, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is business enough. Like this is an insane amount of like emotional weight essentially, and headspace. And I just like, if I wanted to be some kind of hero, maybe I'd do it all. But like, I'm like, hey, we're not here to burn out. So
Yeah.
I think I've had to learn, I've had therapists and coaches help me to do this, but I've had to learn how to hold space and really support clients without carrying the weight of it, because everyone's on their own journey, and recognizing, hey, these clients are on their own journey in life and whatever's happening there. And I'm here to help and support them, but I cannot carry the weight of it all. And so, just setting boundaries, learning to regulate my nervous system, trusting that my clients are capable of rising through whatever challenges that they have going on, and supporting them through that. That's really helped me.
Yeah.
So
A lot of sense.
yeah, it's yeah, and it's something that I'm just always working on, because yeah, it's one of those things that you never like are like, oh, I've nailed this, it's perfectly good. It's always evolving. So
Yeah. Wow, that definitely is a lot. I've never really thought about it that way.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love it still. Like it lights me up, and I'm very like honored and grateful to do the work I do. And I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. But yeah, it's just learning to not carry the weight of everybody's problems and stuff, and just like being able to support and guide without like taking that all on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on the JBA, or has that been a business?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's about 5 years now,
5 years.
4 or 5 years. Yeah. So it's been a couple of years, like officially the JBA. Before that, I was just doing free, like helping, coaching, calls, stuff like that,
Wow.
with no real intention to build it out into a program until I saw like these people 6 months later, and they'd done some of the stuff I suggested, but they didn't really implement it effectively or consistently. And then I was like, oh, the missing key here is the implementation part. And the implementation part is what a lot of people find boring, but I have a science background. So I'm like, oh, systems fun, like plans fun, blueprints fun. Like I love it. So it's kind of evolved
I
from
feel
there.
like everyone keeps giving me the advice that they're just like, wait till year 5. Like year 5 is when things are going to feel good. Everything's going to like pop off. Like all your systems are going to be in place. You're going to start to really see the return on all of the sweat you're putting in now. Is that how
Yeah.
you feel?
Yeah. What I will say is there's no amount of money you could pay me to repeat the first 2 years of being a jewelry business owner or the first 2 years of being a coach.
Hmm.
I personally, in my experience, and I've spoken to other entrepreneurs about this, the first 2 years in any business are hands down the hardest, because you're proving a concept. You're having to put in work with not always seeing immediate returns. Sometimes you need time to like really build and see like the results. And it's scrappier. You don't have the whole team. You don't have all the systems in place. So yeah, 100%. It's easier. Like, and that's where I think some people panic, because they're like, oh, I don't want to grow this business beyond where I'm at because I barely can cope now. Actually, for most people, growing your business beyond where you're at now will actually give you your time back, because you'll get more team members, you'll get better systems in place, you'll actually get your time back. So, yeah, it gets easier after the second year, I'd actually say.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then like having just passed 2 years, I'm like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll start to get
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. The first 2 years are just the hardest.
Yeah.
Like, I nothing from the first 2 years I would want to repeat.
Yeah.
After that, and I don't want anyone
Yeah.
listening to get scared, but I think it's very valuable because most entrepreneurs quit before they hit their 2 year anniversary. And it's because they think they're failing, but it's actually like, no, no, the first 2 years are the hardest years. Like
Yeah.
they're the hardest years, and then it gets easier. The third year gets a little easier. Fourth year, you're gonna be like like much smoother sailing. And
Yeah.
it just depends on how fast you're growing. The minute you can start building a team that you trust, the minute you start implementing systems and automating as much as possible, like you get your time back. And when you have your time back and your revenue increases, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah. No, that's
So
definitely.
you're
I'm
going
excited.
into that season. Yeah. I'm
Oh,
excited
man.
for you too.
So when you think about like the future, I mean, do you have like a 5 to 10 year plan? Or I know that you said a lot of this has evolved really organically. So is that something you even think about?
Yeah, so I definitely do think about the JBA and how I'm wanting to scale it and what that looks like. Um, but I'm also thinking at the same time about my life and my day to day and what I want that to look like. So, I definitely want to keep scaling it, but I don't want to scale. I think what I've seen just from looking at other companies, especially coaching companies, what I've seen is the disconnect in when they scale and they just focusing on the revenue, um, without looking at like, well, how are we continuing to support clients at a lot of depth while getting more clients into a program. It's a really tricky balance. And so I'm really focused on like, you're in the JBA actually. So you've seen, like, I know all the clients by name. I know what's going on in their businesses. I'm able to, when they come to calls and like, hey, this is happening, I can give them feedback, but not just feedback to their answer. I can take into account what I know about them, where their business is at, the things we've spoken about in the past. And I couldn't do that if there was 10,000 people in the
Yeah.
program. And I think you lose a lot. Like, I think there's a danger when clients become anonymous in a program like that, where it's like, oh, they can just be there and like not show up. And if they're on a call, nobody's going to be like, hey, Sarah, you haven't really said anything. Let's talk. Like, how are you doing? And you get the surface level answer. And then you deep dive a little bit deeper and you start kind of finding what that block is. So it's like, how do I scale while actually deepening the support that we give our clients and deepening the support that our team's able to give as well. So I'm very much focused more on depth. I'm not just on scaling. I don't have any interest in just running a huge corporation where all my clients are nameless people and I don't remember, I don't know what's going on. So I'm focused on scaling, but I'm also focused on like doing more in-person things, like more retreats. Like I loved the retreat last year. It was so deeply fulfilling. It was so connective. It made me feel so alive. And just seeing the transformation the clients went through. So I'm wanting to kind of scale it and just make it the Jewelry Business Academy essentially be known as the place for jewelry business owners to scale in a way that like, hey, yeah, we're here to do the work. You're not going to not do work. You're going to do work. It's going to be hard. It's going to be messy, but we're going to do it in a sustainable way. We're going to do it with a lot of heart and strategy and support and community. And so, yeah, more in-person things, more depth. Like I'm always evolving the training. I don't know if you've seen the new training with our 10-day sprint and stuff, but we're always looking like, how can we get clients more results quicker in like less steps? So I'm always revising that as well as we scale. But then I also just want to like look at like, well, how do I get more joy in my life? How do I get a bit more time back? How do I get more energy? How do I get to spend more time with the people I love? So I'm more building the business for freedom and impact rather than just revenue.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah,
Have you
I
thought
always
about
say
your 5 year plan?
this is a question that I hate because when I think about my life 10 years ago to what it is now, like I could not
Mhm.
have possibly predicted what 10 years ago. Like I was 24 years old. I was still dancing and being a choreographer. I've had like 3 careers since then. So to try to project out my life 10 years into the future feels like what a silly exercise that would be.
Yeah.
Like that just like you can't possibly. So like I've kind of given up on stuff like that. I really only predict
Yeah.
like 6 months to a year in advance. And I just like I'm like, okay, this is what if I do these actions now, that's what I see happening then. And then it's like kind of like a rolling evolution rather than ever trying to project like 5 to 10 years in the future. But I do think, like you said, that I am focused when I'm always trying to optimize for like, yeah, what my life should feel like, not
Yeah.
anything tied to like revenue. I mean, those things are great and they allow for the other things. So they're very connected. But it is more about like, okay, what are the next steps to make my life look like the way that I want it to feel and for how I can like exist in the world?
Mm.
Because if the business feels like it's like crushing me or if it's becoming too much of a burden, the whole point is lost. And it's like then
Yeah.
it's like, well, what have we really done here? Like you built this. If it starts to like feel like it's like I'm my own worst boss and the business is like coming down on me, then I know that that's like kind of to me that when I've failed almost. Not that I've failed, but just like there's seasons of hard work now so that I can get to that vision. And it's not
Hmm.
really 100% related to like any sort of like goal in terms of like monetarily or like how many locations I want or like what my like
Hmm.
year needs to look like or how many employees I need, like any of those like traditional metrics. It is more about like, okay, what do I want my life to feel like? And how do I think I'm going to be able to make that happen? But really only 6 months to a year from now. Yeah.
I love that. I totally understand that because I mean, I've been the same for years as well. I mean, I would never have guessed 10 years ago what I'd be doing. Even five, like, it's so hard. I wouldn't have guessed, like, even a year ago. I was speaking to one of my friends about this. 1 year ago, I was living in Ontario, the other side of Canada. I had no idea that I would move. I would literally be moving across Canada, selling everything, resetting up my whole life here, and immediately like have this community of friends and activity. Like I had no idea that was even gonna be on the cards. So yeah, it's nice to have some kind of vision of the direction we're going in, but also be flexible to tweaking and pivoting and being like listening to our body and like, okay, wait, I just went through a season where I was doing more of this and that made me feel more alive. And how do we integrate that more into our day to day while we're building this business? Because you're so right. If you build a business that makes you feel like you've got a job with the worst boss ever, it's not a business. You've got yourself a job
Yeah.
that never ends.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so good to be mindful, and that's what I love about what you're doing, Arielle. You're very mindful of like, I'm building this business so that I can live in X, Y, like whatever a way that feels good to me on a day-to-day basis. And I resonate with that because it's not about living for the vacations that you go for. I mean, vacations are fun, but to live for like 2 weeks or 4 weeks of vacation a year whenever you go on trips is fine, but I'd rather be like living for every day and just enjoying every
Yeah,
day and doing work that I love every day.
definitely. Okay, so I have one last question for you, and I guess it's what is one life lesson that has shaped your approach to business?
Ew, one life lesson. You know what? This is a really good question because it's hard for me to think of like one thing. There's so many things that I would say embracing messy action because I talk about this all the time, really embracing messy action and just doing things before you feel ready, doing things when it feels cringy, doing things when you get this idea or this pull, like don't ignore it, don't shut it down. Don't be like, oh no, that I don't want to like explore that side of me that wants to start this business because I'm on this career path of this XYZ. Like allow yourself to go and like take messy action to build, to do things that are cringy that other people are maybe judging you for. Because at the end of the day, like I know this is depressing, but it gives me peace when I think of this. I'm like, in 100 years from now, none of us are going to be here.
Yeah.
Nobody actually cares. Like we have this one life, just go have fun with it. Go do the things that you're feeling called to do. And the other lesson that I think I've learned is that you don't have to do everything alone. You don't have to wait until, you know, you don't have to push through and like build your business alone or chase that dream alone to be worthy of the success when it comes. And for a long time, I felt like I needed to build a successful business completely on my own to be worthy of that success. Because, oh, I did it all on my own. I did pour my blood, sweat, and tears into that. And the funny thing is, you don't get any kind of reward for doing that. You just waste a lot of time. You build a lot of anxiety. But I used to think that getting help or getting support made me less of a real business owner. And I really thought that, especially coming from corporate, I thought that I had to prove that I knew what I was doing and I didn't need anyone. And yeah, if I could say something to anyone who's listening who's in the earlier stages or like my younger self, I just say get in the room sooner, get support sooner, get in a community of other business owners or people that are dreaming and doing the same thing as you. Like for you, getting into places where there's other people building stores and building jewelry businesses, it makes it less scary. It makes it more like we're stacking evidence of all these people are doing it. We're asking questions and getting support and not having to trial things on our own. And like, the reality is business is still going to kind of beat you down sometimes. You can have all the blueprints, all the support, but you're still going to have to like go out there and fight it on one level. So yeah, I'd say just like feeling worthy of support before you're successful.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your biggest lessons.
I mean, I think it's hard and it's always evolving. My like latest mantra that I'm always kind of calling back to is life is living you. Which to me is just like it doesn't have to be so prescriptive, and you don't have to like have this grand plan, and you don't have to be so tied to outcomes. Like you can kind of just like feel what's coming up for you on the day to day, feel what's like feeling right in the moment. And it doesn't have to be, I don't know, I don't think we have as much control as we think. Like I just think that like you take what comes in every day. And I mean, think that's part of being a business owner is like every day I wake up and it's a new thing that I couldn't have possibly predicted. And you kind of just have to like take it and run with it. And it's something that I couldn't have ever seen even 3 months ago, because how did I know this opportunity was going to come? And when I think about it like that, and this has only come up because I've seen that enough time. It is like stacking evidence that I don't know anything. And so it's just like, oh, life is living me. Like I just kind of need to
Yeah.
like get on this train, like take the signals that come when they do and go with the flow. Like things are not gonna come into my life if they're not meant for me. If something is a roadblock and it's continuously not happening, like we need to accept that, okay, maybe that wasn't meant for you. And like life is gonna pull you in another direction. And sometimes like the biggest no's you get are actually like a pointers in a better direction. Like we get so tied to outcomes and specific things that we think we need to be like happy or successful. And I just think we really have no idea. We really have no idea what's even going to make us like happy or what's going to lead to success. And I think it's all of that, like trying to predict and trying to optimize and make things like a certain way, which is how my
Perfect.
brain 100% has always operated, is setting us up for failure. And I think it's much better to just be like, well, what is feeling good today and what is the best I can do with what I'm given, and kind of go with the flow of life.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I couldn't agree more, Arielle. You know, what came to me when you were sharing that was the surrender experiment. I don't
Yeah.
know
Oh
if you've
my gosh.
read
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read it after you told me to.
one of my favorite books. And it's just like, it also shifted how I showed up in business. Like you said, like you can't control everything and there's going to be fires, there's going to be things happening. And it's just learning to surrender to things out of our control and also be open to opportunities and open to life going in different directions. And it's funny because I was actually talking to a friend yesterday about how we often think we know what we want. Like, I don't know how to say this without sharing too many details. I we think we know what we want in terms of like our life and our partner and all this stuff, and we put this image in our mind of this is all the things I want, this is the list, and we think that's going to make it us happy. And it's so interesting to me how that list and that those things that we think we want for so many years isn't actually necessarily what would make us happy.
Yeah.
And it's just like learning to surrender a bit more to life and um, yeah, going with the flow and having fun with it and finding joy, finding play like your brand encourages people to do as well.
Definitely.
But this has been so fun, Arielle. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining me. Did we get through all your questions?
Yes.
We did. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'd love to bring you back on to talk about your journey in opening your brick and mortar because I
Yeah, no,
know
I'd love to talk
it's
about that. It's a
a
wild
very
ride
it's
already.
a very exciting journey. But I know we're going to have people listening who want to connect with you and follow along while you're building this out and support you. So, where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Ludere, Ludere, which means to play.
Amazing. We will link that in the show notes so you guys can go follow along. Definitely check out Arielle's jewelry and the storefront. And if you guys are in Colorado, go check it out when it opens. But this has been so fun, Arielle. Thank you again so much for joining me. And I can't wait to have you back on soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was great, and talk to you soon.